Esther and Mary were childhood friends who grew up together in a small village called Taku. They were so close that most times people called them sisters. However, unlike other women in Taku who were trained to be a full housewife, Mary wanted to be a lawyer while Esther wanted to be a doctor. But Taku was an underdeveloped village and was a limitation to their quest. So one day, Esther and Mary decided that they would travel to the city in search of greener pastures. So they started saving up money to realize their ambitions. Fortunately, one day, Esther and her friend Mary were on their way to the market when they saw a very luxurious car. It was like none they have ever set eyes on. As they stood in awe and admired the car, a man approached them. He introduced himself as Emeka. He asked to see Esther privately and told her that he fell in love with her the moment he saw her and wanted to get married to her. Esther told him that she would think about it. He asked for direction to Esther's compound and she told him. After Emeka left, Esther told Mary what they discussed. Mary tried to dissuade her. She told Esther that getting married would only hinder her from achieving her dreams. When Emeka came to see Esther that evening, Esther told him about her ambitions to be a doctor. Emeka assured her that getting married to him wouldn't hinder her from being a doctor. He promised Esther that he would sponsor her through school as his wife and also get her a job if she intended to work. Esther was excited and agreed to marry him. However, Mary was envious and jealous of her friend Esther. A few weeks later, Emeka got married to Esther. A great feast was held and everyone had more than enough to eat, drink, and also take home. Emeka was very wealthy and he spared no expense to make his wedding a memorable one. After the wedding, Esther left Mary behind and went to the city with Emeka. Emeka was a lucrative businessman. He was very wealthy and compassionate as well. He lived in a mansion and had many cars. Esther was awed by the magnificence of Emeka's mansion. The house was very big and mighty. A few months after they got married, Mary visited Esther in the city and was marveled by what she saw. The envy and jealousy she felt towards her friend increased and she concealed her true intent. After a year, Esther gave birth to a handsome baby boy. Emeka was happy to have a son and told Esther, his wife, to ask for anything and he would grant it. Esther reminded him that he promised her that he would sponsor her through school to be a doctor. Emeka recalled his promise and got Esther admitted into medical school. However, the stress of combining her academics and motherly duties were enormous, so she talked to her husband about the difficulty she was having. Emeka proposed that they hired a maid. Esther thought for a while and decided that Mary, her best friend, should come and stay with them instead. She recalled that Mary wanted to be a lawyer but lacked the resources to pull it through. So she saw this as a way of helping her best friend. Unknown to her that Mary, her best friend, had ulterior motives and intended to snatch her home. Mary arrived in the city some weeks later to live with Esther and help around the house. She thanked Esther profusely for the opportunity and also for remembering her. Esther told her it was nothing, as they were friends. She implored Mary to feel as though she was at home, that she isn't a maid, but like a sister to her. The only reason her husband would call her a maid is because she would be getting paid handsomely. They both talked, conversed, and played like sisters. That night, Mary couldn't sleep. She imagined herself being the wife of Emeka and having access to all the luxurious things which Esther had. Mary decided that night that she would snatch Emeka from Esther. The next day, Mary lied that she forgot something at the village and needed to go get it. But when Mary got to the village, she went to see an evil wizard. She told the wizard that she wants Emeka to love her more than his wife. The wizard gave her a special perfume. He told her to always spray it whenever she was at home. Whenever Emeka perceived the scent, he would be intoxicated by her beauty and no one else would matter to him except her. However, the wizard gave Mary a warning. He told her that she must return every month to get another perfume. If the perfume should get finished, Emeka would come back to his senses. The love he has for her would become intense hatred and she would run mad. Mary thanked the wizard and returned to the city. She waited for an opportunity to use the perfume the wizard gave her. One day, Esther had to write her final exams in another state. The exam would take a week, so Esther wouldn't be home until the end of the exam. Esther trusted Mary so much and left her son in Mary's care. Mary rushed into her room and sprayed the perfume on her body. When Emeka came out of his matrimonial room, he instantly perceived the scent. Then Mary approached him, pretending that she wanted to help him take his briefcase to the car. Emeka instantly became intoxicated by Mary's beauty. He couldn't control himself, so he kissed her. Mary kissed him too and took him back into the matrimonial room, where they made love. 1 week later, Esther returned from the state she went to write her final exam. When she returned to the house, she saw her friend, Mary, sitting on Emeka's legs and kissing him on the cheek, while her son was crying at the corner of the house with no one attending to her. Esther was shocked and couldn't believe her eyes. She raged at Mary and gave her a hard slap. Emeka instantly stood up and gave Esther a harder slap, which sent her to the floor. He called Esther an infidel and asked her to leave his house with her bastard son. Esther was astonished. She was confused and didn't understand what was happening. As Emeka yelled at his wife and packed her things out of his house, Mary stood behind him laughing scornfully at Esther. When Emeka had chased Esther and his son out of the house, he warned the security man never to let them inside the compound again. Esther wept outside the gate, confused and didn't know what to do. She decided to go back to the village and meet her parents. When she got to the village, her parents called Emeka, but he told them he wasn't interested in Esther anymore. He claimed Esther was cheating on him and the child doesn't belong to him. Esther and her parents pleaded, but Emeka refused to listen. Mary had completely won him over. Mary took over Esther's house, but unlike Esther, she was too flamboyant and extravagant. She spent money recklessly and without control. She abandoned her ambitions of being a lawyer and became a full housewife, lavishing money on irrelevant things. She eventually got married to Emeka, but her parents weren't in support of the union. Meanwhile, Esther left her son with her parents in the village to go finish her studies in the city. Because of her good marks, she got a bursary and continued with her studies. In her final year, she checked her results when it was released and found out she graduated with first class. A lot of hospitals were impressed by her results and offered her instant appointment. She eventually settled for the hospital with the best offer and moved into her own house with her son. Within months, she was well established and had completely forgotten about Emeka. Mary had her way with Emeka for 5 years, trapping him every day with the perfume which the evil wizard gave her. Every month, she returned to the village to see the evil wizard to renew the perfume. She continued to live in luxury and eventually got pregnant for Emeka. When Mary was 7 months pregnant, she was rubbing her powder when her hand accidentally pushed the perfume given to her by the wicked wizard. Hello viewer, if you are still watching this story and you are enjoying the story, please don't forget to subscribe to help me reach 1000 subscribers. Now, let's continue the story. It fell to the floor and broke into pieces. Mary quickly dressed and went to seek out the evil wizard for a replacement of the perfume. But when she arrived, his hut was abandoned. She noticed a terrible odor coming from his hut. She entered and discovered the evil wizard's lifeless corpse, which was decaying. Mary became terrified when she remembered the evil wizard's warning. She searched his hut in hope of finding another perfume, but she found none. When she returned to the city, she was very scared and worried. She visited all the spiritual homes she could find, but none of them could offer her a solution. Defeated and frustrated, she returned to the house. When Emeka returned from his office that day, he met Mary seated in the living room. Immediately, he saw her being unable to perceive the scent of the perfume. He suddenly became conscious of his environment. "Where is Esther, my wife?" he asked Mary. Mary approached him and tried to kiss him, but he gave her a hard slap on the cheek. He cautioned her never to attempt such again and implored her to call Esther, his wife, for him. Mary knew she no longer had control over Emeka. She knew she was in trouble and walked out of the house, but before she could reach the gate, she suddenly ran mad, tearing her clothes and singing Kiddy's lullaby, holding her protruded stomach like a child. Emeka was confused. He searched around the house frantically for Esther and his son, but he couldn't find them. He couldn't find their pictures either. All he could see were pictures of him and Mary as a married couple. Emeka quickly placed a call across to his mother-in-law to inquire about his wife, but they disconnected the call immediately they heard his voice. He rushed to their house in the village and went on his knees pleading that they should forgive him if he had offended them in any way, insisting that he wanted his wife and son back. Esther's mother took pity on him and explained all that happened. Emeka said that he doesn't recall all of the events that they had mentioned. When Esther's family understood that Emeka's actions were the result of Mary's bewitching, they summoned Esther to the village. Emeka quickly dropped to his knees and pleaded with her. His son was 7 years old already, but couldn't recognize Emeka as his father. Esther wanted to leave, but her parents also went on their knees and appealed on Emeka's behalf. They explained that it wasn't his fault and that he was bewitched by Mary, her best friend. Esther eventually agreed to forgive him because of her son. She hugged Emeka deeply and their son joined in. Emeka apologized for the way he treated her and what she had gone through. They both returned to the city. Esther continued to work but part-time, so she spent more time with her family while Emeka continued to manage his business, and they lived happily ever after. Dear viewer, thank you for watching this story. Now, let me know in the comment section if Esther did the right thing by forgiving Emeka, or perhaps what do you also think? Let me know your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and like as well. See you in the next story.